right, well, I'm here with Ayya. She says hello. I did a 7-night, 6-day hike through the Deer Creek, Narrows, and Thunder River Trail. This is a backcountry Grand Canyon trip. It's described as grueling, which is pretty accurate for many parts of the trip. It's also extremely epic. The payoff of the views and the vistas and just general peacefulness is beyond compare. I'm just gonna make sure that Ayya's in the camera because she's so sweet. You're so sweet, and you're just hanging out here with me. Thank you. On the note of water, that is one real consideration on this trip. I found that bringing 6 liters was the exact amount that worked for me. I would imagine if the weather had been hotter, a little more might have been nicer. Yeah, I think 6 liters would have worked. Even if the weather was hotter, I did have extra water at the end, which was more of a blessing than not having enough. So what that looked like was I put 3 Smart Bottle liters in a bag, and I cached it at a tree on the Esplanade, which is one of the areas that you'll go through. It does mean going down a very steep decline into the canyon, because you know the canyon is the you like this, the canyon is a reverse mountain effect. So you do climb down in, and the mountain that you have to climb out of is pretty steep, right? You gonna go? Yeah, so when you go to cache your water, I found that 3 Smart Bottles, 3 liters, was a really good amount to have for one person to bring down additionally with my pack. I did also bring 3 liters for my use the first couple of days. Yeah, I guess it was 2 days. Had to think about that. So having those 3-liter bottles was crucial for me because I hiked and then I would have to exit, and on your exit there is a dry camp spot. There could be 2 dry camp nights if you choose to do that, and so having 3 liters of water was pretty essential. Also, I found that if I had lost one of those bottles, perhaps it slips out of my bag on a steep hill or something like that, which is entirely possible, that I would still have 2 bottles left, and that's a good amount of water to have on your person. I did bring a Sawyer squeeze water filter as well, so that when I was near the water sources, I was able to use them and access them and have them for food and for drinking. Ayya, sit. You're such a good girl. Stay there. All right. Hiking the Deer Creek Narrows and the Thunder River Loop is a backcountry trip. It will require a permit that can be obtained through the National Park Service at the Grand Canyon, and I don't mean to make that sound like that's done in person. It absolutely is not. This is something that you'll want to do through emails to a park ranger, through the National Grand Canyon Backcountry Permitting Section, months even in advance of your trip. The rangers are really good, especially if you're traveling solo, about making sure that you have a good understanding of the length of the trip, the type of conditions that you're hiking into, and the kind of extreme caution that needs to be taken, especially if you're hiking solo. If something were to happen, such as a fall or a slip into a place into the canyon. Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh at that. Hi. I originally chose this hike because I wanted to do something different than the rim-to-rim trail in the Grand Canyon. I love the rim-to-rim. I've done it many times. I've done shorter hikes down into the canyon as well. And I love the Grand Canyon so much. I wanted to experience it more with less people. And this hike did not disappoint. The Thunder River Deer Creek Loop hike is about 21 miles. I think it's 21.8. or 31 kilometers. The distance makes it sound like an easy hike, but because it is a Grand Canyon hike, it is deceptive. It is actually it's a very difficult hike. And there are a couple different ways you can take it. In this video, you'll see me where I'm hiking above Tapeats Creek. There is another alternate route which would be a lot easier, and that's to hike on the other side of Tapeats Creek along the creek. I spent 7 days and 6 nights inside of the Grand Canyon on this hike. You could also do it in less time. Definitely a day hike is quite difficult, although people do it from Monument Point down to Deer Creek and back out. I don't think that would be as enjoyable. I definitely enjoy setting up a tent and doing it overnight at Deer Creek Narrows because it gives me time to enjoy the Narrows when the large amounts of people coming off the rafts are not in the Narrows. And the same with the Colorado River. I really enjoy that kind of, spa sand time to hang out at the river and experience some of the nature and possibly full moon that could be happening on the Colorado River. This is a lollipop loop trail. It starts off at Monument Point and then it goes down, and you can choose your direction that you would like. You can either go towards Thunder River or you can go towards Deer Creek Narrows, and it loops, and the loop part goes along the Colorado River. You can also skip that loop. You can skip the Colorado River and just do a hike as you choose. You could do a back and forth from Monument Point down the Bill Hall Trail to Deer Creek Narrows. You could also take the Indian Point access and do Thunder River down to Tapeats. The neat thing about Thunder River, it's one of the shortest rivers in the world. It's only half a mile, and then it deposits into Tapeats Creek, which then goes into the Colorado River. This hike did not disappoint. It is so fantastic. It is known as one of the most grand Canyonest hikes because it has all of the rock formations that you could desire. It has Deer Creek Narrows, beautiful narrows to explore, and it has multiple waterfalls as well as just lovely water stops all along the trail. The only parts that don't have water you need to be aware of. So the Bill Hall Trail starts at Monument Point and it goes down to the Esplanade. There is no water source at this section of the trail, and that is why we cache water there when you enter, so that for safety, if you did need it to cook food or to drink, you would have water on exit. The Esplanade is a really fabulous exploration in itself, and you can do this as a day hike. You could go down from the Monument Point down to the Esplanade as a day hike without a permit. You cannot overnight or sleep or do multiple day hikes, of course, without getting a permit in advance. Some of the really great water stops that you're going to see are the massive waterfall at Thunder River, which seems to just sprout from the center of the earth. It is just a force. It's a huge force to be reckoned with. And then as you go along, you're going to go down to Tapeats Creek and then to the Colorado River. You'll probably see some raft tours going through. You are unlikely to encounter more than, I'd say, maybe 6 people tops on this hike. It's pretty unlikely, except for the people who are rafting. They do day hikes in, so you may encounter those raft tours on Tapeats Creek or also at Deer Creek Narrows. Although at the Narrows, they tend to be there only in the afternoon. You'll also see waterfalls at Deer Creek Narrows. It's just gorgeous, and there is a waterfall if you're adventurous and you want to hike from the Deer Creek Narrows on down to the Colorado River, similar to what the raft tours do. There is a tall waterfall there as well from Deer Creek Narrows to the Colorado River. It used to be that people were allowed to rappel down this area and do some canyoneering. That is no longer allowed, and permits for that haven't been issued for many years. It is called, I think it's just called Deer Creek Falls, but it's, I have to think about that. I don't know the name of the waterfall. Another waterfall, it's a tall, skinny waterfall that is just beautiful, and you can experience it and stand in it. It is either as you're exiting, if you leave from Deer Creek and you go up to Surprise Valley and exit that way, or if you're entering that way. And there's a cool little section of rock formations that's near the waterfall right beside it. It's called the Throne Room, and the Throne Room is named that because it has chair-like shaped structures where you can hang out with your friends. Yeah, it's definitely one of the most Grand Canyonist hikes because of the rock formations, the number of waterfalls that you encounter, the strenuousness of the hike. That is something I should stress here a little bit. This hike is it's a difficult hike. It's rated as a difficult hike or a strenuous hike, and the reason is you're descending into the Grand Canyon, and the descent is at multiple levels. So the first descent is from Monument Point down to the Esplanade, which is this kind of moon-like surface. It's a fantastic place to sleep. I try to plan my trip so that I'll encounter a full moon either on the Esplanade or on the Colorado River. In both places, it is just fantastic. And then the next drop down from the Esplanade to Surprise Valley, that drop is called the Red Wall, and it's quite a force. The Red Wall is an ass kicker. And then from there, you're in Surprise Valley, you drop down even further. You're going to go down to the water levels at Deer Creek Narrows or to Thunder River. So there's several descents, and then on the exit, many ascents. And I gotta say, I really enjoy either doing an overnight on the way out. I've done overnights at the top of the Red Wall. If you leave in the afternoon to avoid the sun, so you're leaving from Deer Creek Narrows and you're hiking up towards the Red Wall through Surprise Valley, you can do it in one shot if you leave very early in the morning, and I've done that as well. That's definitely my preference, just to do it in one go. Take off like at 4:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, and just exit out all the way in one shot. Otherwise, it's an overnight, and that can be exciting too, to overnight on top of the Red Wall, especially depending on the weather. I've definitely experienced rain there. I've experienced really windy conditions, and yeah, I've had a nice night there too. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy your hike. Definitely do some research on this one. Get your permits. Happy hiking. If you found this helpful and you're enjoying the videos, please like and subscribe. I love comments below. I'd love to hear about your hikes and your adventures. Happy hiking.